It's party time, Mom. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show, where we are quarantined in the mothership, which is Studio 22, with, of course, the puppet master Mark, who's driving us into the nether regions of all things that are COVID-19 in these days. Sitting next to him, my brain, my filter, my mind, the one who tells me everything I should know and say, Candice, the queen of the Ethiopians, while Herbert the silent deer looks on. Of course, sitting at the Party Foul Pub is the man himself, Party Foul Steve Powell, who's going to be here to tell you all things that you need to know in terms of what's really going on in the news. But today's show is all about the vital essential workers around our country who are literally keeping this entire thing we call America running. The truck drivers, medical professionals, grocery store workers, they are truly the ones that are on the front lines of this pandemic. And if we were to lose their workforce, we would be in far worse circumstances. Now, when we talk about pulling essential workers out of the field, that's when we really see struggle, hunger, death. And I'm serious when I say that. These men and women on the roads, in the hospital rooms, those are the real heroes in all of this, not governmental puppets in Washington, D.C. that are positive that a $1,000 check is going to cure America. Now, here at the Chad Prather Show, our team is committed to making sure that the unsung heroes are recognized and receive the support that they deserve. We know that the trucking community has its own network of communications, and we don't even pretend to be a part of that world, nor do we even begin to think that we understand the behind-the-scenes life of truckers and their jobs. You have your CB radios, and we have the power of social media and television. So, Breaker 19, who's got their ears on? Look, I'm all grossed out looking for the 411 on a COVID-19. I'm out here looking for some motion lotion, and I just passed a Mickey Mouse with a tricycle. Hey, come back. Seriously, I'm just kidding with you. We appreciate you. We may not know the ins and outs of your life, but we know when the shelves at the store are empty, and we know when American life gets disrupted and interrupted and ultimately off the rails. Our truckers are the lifeblood flowing through the arteries of America, and you keep our heart beating. So here's to you. We are thankful for the American companies that are going the extra mile to stay open, deliver food, provide parking, shelter, showers, bathrooms for our truckers. They're providing meals to the trucks and so much more. On this episode of the Chad Prather Show, which, by the way, is the most supportive of the trucking industry amongst all shows on Blaze TV, so take that, Jeffy Fisher, we are going to talk about the unsung heroes of America and so much more. So stay tuned and let's get into it. Hey, losing your hair sucks, man. You know it doesn't suck? Keeping your hair. You can keep it. You don't even have to leave your couch. You can dress just like I am right here. You can keep your hair. If you're losing your hair, you got to know that Keeps is there for you, man. Keeps offers the generic version of the only 2 FDA-approved hair loss products that are out there. That's the real deal, and the generic versions are going to save you a fortune when it comes to hair loss. It's simple. Just answer a few online questions, snap a few pictures of your hair, and a doctor's going to review everything, recommend the right FDA-approved hair loss treatment for you, and then it's going to be shipped discreetly to your door. You're probably wondering, will it work? Well, a whopping 66% of men experience hair regrowth thanks to Keeps. Losing your hair definitely sucks, folks, but there's something you can do about it, and I got a deal for you. Go to Keeps, KEEPS.com/loss. Get your first order of Keeps hair loss treatment for 50% off. That's right, half off for a whole head. That's Keeps.com/loss. Keep your hair. Keeps.com/loss. Welcome back, folks. We're here. We're hanging out, Studio 22. I got all dressed up for you today, Party Foul Steve.
Looks like you crawled out of bed and came to work.
That's pretty much what I do every single day.
I was expecting to get stopped by like the National Guard or police or something driving to the studio. I had my letter prepared from the Blaze that lets me get through like everywhere.
You were looking for the po-po, weren't you?
I was, and there was nothing.
You kind of wanted a story to tell.
I did want a story to tell, but the story is that all the buildings are still being built. I saw construction workers everywhere. I drove by a lot of businesses that are still look like they're
So our friend on the radio, my good buddy Chris Salcedo, the Chris Salcedo Show, he was, of course, he had Attorney General Ken Paxton on the show this morning. And, of course, he was asking a lot of questions about what are the ramifications of these shelter-in-place orders that are happening. It's happening in a lot of counties around the country, specifically here at home for us. We've got some that are, some that aren't. You and I live in Johnson County. You're just across in Tarrant County. Tarrant County now has shelter in place. Dallas County has that. Steve, did you ever think that you would be considered essential, like an essential worker?
I'm virtually non-essential at anything I do, but apparently the Blaze, or at least you think I'm essential.
You
and that's
now
all that
have
matters.
a letter, though.
I do.
You have a letter that says you're essential.
But even in that letter, I was reading it, and it's a little funny.
Okay, well, our listeners don't know what that means.
Yeah,
How's it funny?
I know. It was just, but the way it started, it was not like to law enforcement or to the National Guard or anything like that. It was a letter to employees. Hey, carry this, and
that's
also,
exactly right. That's the letter.
Carry this letter, and carry a paycheck stub, and carry, any other business card.
Yeah, that's all you need.
You can make that up at home and print it off and say, "Oh, I'm so and so." Though
you could, but it's easily verifiable.
Yeah,
I mean, they can follow you to the studio.
They could.
So, but I don't think that the law enforcement's really got a lot of time to be doing that.
No,
so it is what
either.
it is. Here we are in the studio. I never leave. I just stay right here in the cave. I just stay right here on set. This is where I feel most at home. Right here, boom. Saves me time and commute. Candice, this is where you live. You've lived here for years. I mean, why don't you have a bathrobe on?
I'm still in the era of having like a little bit of life left in me.
A little bit of dignity?
But I do notice that you are without shoes today, which is very
Oh,
interesting.
yeah, man. I'll tell you what. When it comes down to it, look at the whiteness of those legs. It really shows up in this light right here. There's going to be people that are going to come on here and they're going to make comments. They're going to be, oh, my God, cover up those white legs. Okay, let's see yours, Adonis. Here they are. There they are in all their glory. Boom, even clipped a toenail. Just one. Just one this morning. Man, I'll tell you, it's I tell you one of the things, so much stuff going on. It does my heart good when I'm driving over here and I have to take these interstates and highways and I see those trucks on the road. We did a post last night on Twitter and on Facebook saying, hey, if you have, let's build a list of companies that are catering to truckers, that are staying open, that are doing these things. I've gotten a mixed bag of responses, right? I don't think you could be too cautious or too careful in terms of providing this information. I think it's important. I've had some who have said, well, I don't know where you're getting your information from. I mean, all the truck stops I've seen are open, but then I've gotten other messages from people who say, this is the route I take, and there's a number of them that have been closed, or maybe they have limited functions. I've read where a lot of times truckers can't get stuff in the truck stops because there are people like you and me, Steve, who are going in there and buying all the stuff.
Yeah.
And so they can't get what they need because us yahoos are buying it and taking it home. So it's not that things are necessarily closed. Many rest areas across the country are closed down. There are certain exits that are closed. That's the kind of information we're trying to get out there. And I know you guys have a CB radio. That is the greatest invention ever, right? I used to get on the CB radio when I was a kid, just see who would talk back, you know? But I mean, you guys have your own network of communication. I get that. But what you might not know, some of you, is that there are certain companies that are catering to truckers, right? There are certain restaurants that are out there. There are fast food places like McDonald's now. Even Mike Pence was talking about it yesterday, that McDonald's is now bringing food out to the road.
Do they have a big long stick like in NASCAR to hand it out to them up the thing? You know, like they're handing
just put it on the little deal
stick, hand it to them. But some of our biggest podcasts, the ones that listen to the podcast, and I'm sure some of them view it as well, but they're truck drivers. I get messages from truck drivers almost daily that say, hey, love y'all's show.
Well, and that's kind of what motivated me, because I know how many truckers listen to this show, and we support you bunch of rednecks. We love you guys, and I say that with all affection because we're one of you. And you are, thank God you do what you do. I've thought about it my entire life. I'm like, could I do that job? I just don't think I could do that job. I mean, maybe. You probably could do that job.
I used to have a CDL, and I could drive, but It's just one of those things. You have a passion for it, just like any other job. Them guys love the open road and be able to travel. Several people I went to high school with, they all drive trucks cross country.
Yeah, and I've had family members who drive. We have good friends of the program as well, folks who have been guests on here who drive. Our buddy Brian Bledsoe, he drives. And so Trend Chat 24/7. Brian Blend, that's his little podcast he does. It was just great. And I mean, little in terms of its length. It's a big podcast.
Yeah.
But we have all these folks out here, and we want to do what's good for you just by putting it out there, man. So I learned a lot last night. After putting that post out there, I learned a lot about different restaurants, places that are open, places that are catering to truckers, and there were specifics too, like such and such restaurant and where certain food trucks were. I was talking to some of my friends about, do we need to set up someplace like, say, on I-35 where we have a food truck that's out there a couple of days a week or something like that, where guys have an access where they can pull in, they can park, they can turn around, they can do all of those things. Because you can't just drive an 18-wheeler through McDonald's drive-through.
And it only takes a matter of minutes. Once that first truck stops in there and they're able to get on their CB and say, hey, if you get off on exit so-and-so and pull in there into that empty parking lot of the old whatever building it was or something, they have a food truck just for us.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean we're here for you in that regard. So we've been compiling that stuff. We're going to talk about it. I've just kind of made up my mind. We're going to keep on talking about it because God bless our medical professionals. These folks that are still out there. I saw the fire trucks out on the highway today. There was somebody that had stalled out on the side of the road. He probably should have been home, but the fire trucks were out there. They were taking care of business and doing those things. And there are just certain people out there that they can't take a day off, right? I mean, what we do, we are essentially non-essential in that regard. People could live without our banter.
Yeah.
We're just here to entertain you while you're out there doing your thing. That, and I mean, I got dressed up for you. I look sexy in this bathrobe. It almost looks like I'm not even wearing pants when you look at that wide shot right there, Steve. Quit looking at me like that. You look at me like Joe Exotic's tiger looks at Joe.
I'm just trying to decide, to you shave your legs or to just...
No, there's hair there.
Oh, it's just growing back
there.
from
that key light
shaving
sometimes kind of. I mean, they are. Look at that. I mean, it's kind of a sexy leg. I mean, look at that. I got a little muscle there.
Yeah.
It's the only place on my body where it is, and that's the only reason that muscle's there is because I walk.
Yeah.
I don't do anything for it. You know what I mean? Actually, I'm a sexy beast, Steve. At the end of the day.
Yeah. Let's not talk about you. We were talking about our healthcare professional stuff, and my wife's one that's worked the last 18 days in a row.
Yeah.
And including the weekend and stuff. And now she's not direct patient care, but she's supporting, direct patient care nurses in training and stuff like that. So it's
and Jade, Jade, she's a nurse practitioner, pediatric nurse practitioner, and her clinic is open. They're seeing less and less patients because they're not bringing in those folks that, don't necessarily need. The well child stuff has been backed way off. They have been recommending that you don't have the elective surgeries because they want to make sure that everything is available for any medical needs. You have a lot of companies out there like MyPillow, our friend Mike Lindell. He started making masks, N95 masks, not just the MyPillows. And, it's interesting to see how this country in many ways is pulling together, banding together. The Senate finally came up just after midnight last night, came up with a COVID virus bailout plan. We'll see how that works today. It should be signed by the president today.
Did they cut out all the BS that was in it for the windmills?
We'll know what's in it today.
Okay.
We'll know all the things that are in it. But I was reading through the stuff that Nancy Pelosi was trying to push through on the original thing, and I was like, this lady is on crack.
Yeah.
I mean, and look, I think it's taken a toll on everybody, but this was like a Christmas wish list for them. They wanted everything in there.
That, and from the other perspective, they weren't putting a lot of rules and regulations on how that money was to be spent with these big corporations, and that has to be in there too.
Well, I pissed off the Twitterverse last night over Senator Gerald Nadler. He's not a senator, is he? Is he a senator or congressperson? Anyway, he's a senator. New York.
He's a swampster.
Jerry Nadler. I can't get past how long his zipper is on his pants. He pulls his pants all the way up to here, to his sternum.
Well,
and
there comes a certain age you have to make that choice. Am I going to button my pants below my gut or above it?
yeah. Which, I mean, you know,
I'm
hey,
below the
kudos
gut.
to Jerry for losing 400 pounds through surgery. Senator, right? Congressman. I knew as soon as I said that wasn't right. That shows you how much I don't care about Jerry Nadler. He's like Baby Yoda. But they're proposing this bill that will give museums $4 billion, right? They posted this thing up there, and I said, I don't see how anybody in their right mind could vote for Democrats, because this is the thing. Of course, everybody came at me, well, some of us in America like art and culture and history, unlike you rednecks, Chad, you that don't read and know words, and you people who say elitists are dumb. And I'm like, okay, give a lot of money to the museums, do you? And one guy says, well, a lot is a relative term. I said, do you give any money to the museums? No. Do you know how much the president of the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York makes every year? $1.2 million. You know how much the total package for the finance officer for the Met is? $1.6 million. The curator that's in there, the director that's in there, makes $900,000. This is ridiculous. And they're like, oh, but they have all this, oh, you don't care about history. I do, but, oh, you don't care about the 700,000 people. I mean, how dare they keep the cruise ships? They're going to spend $1 trillion to keep the cruise industry open, but you don't want to spend, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Let me explain something to you about the cruise industry, cruise ships. Now, I know that seems like a novelty. It seems kind of weird. But do you know what happens when somebody goes on a cruise? They eat out, they travel, they get on an airplane, they buy gas, they engage in tourism, they visit locations, they buy stuff. Not to mention the people that work on cruise ships and the people that spend their money to keep money in circulation. I promise you the cruise industry brings in far more money than the museum industry. Now, I might be wrong on that because I don't know the numbers, but I got a solid assumption that tourism does far more than history. It does. Are museums important? Are the people who work there important? 100% yes. But you're going to propose a $4 billion deal to keep museums open? And he says the museums have to survive the COVID-19. When in the hell did a building start getting a disease? It's not a disease. I got to quit saying that. It's a virus. Listen, taxes. Let's talk about this. That's one thing we all have to deal with this time of year, and as a business owner, it is critical to know all your options. That's why you should lean on LegalZoom.com. LLCs, DBAs, S-Corps, they all mean different things when it comes to paying taxes and limiting your personal liability. And there's a lot to think about, but with LegalZoom, you don't have to worry about doing all the legwork yourself. So to find the right answers, they're going to help you. They have a ton of resources to help, including their network of independent attorneys and tax professionals. They're going to provide the advice you need to ensure you're operating your business the way you want to. And since LegalZoom isn't a law firm, you'll save time and money while avoiding hourly fees, whether you need to form an LLC or set up your business another way. Just use LegalZoom to maximize your business potential and make your accountant happy. Get your business on the right track for 2020 by visiting LegalZoom.com. Use code Prather for special savings. That's LegalZoom.com. Code Prather. LegalZoom, where life meets legal. We'll be right back to fuss about some more things. There is a great article out there by the Daily Beast. Truck drivers are America's unsung heroes. I encourage you to go get it. Daily Beast, thedailybeast.com. We know about the healthcare workers that are kind of giving that daily profile and courage. But there's about 1.8 million men and women out there who are on our highways, and I'm happy to see them out there. A lot of us are just kind of huddled up at the house trying to stay home and not get sick and not share our germs with everybody or catch the germs everybody else has. But you got these truck drivers that are out there. They're on the roads, man. And what I said in the opening is true. They really are the lifeblood on the highways, which I think of as America's arteries. You know, whenever you think about the country getting shut down, all you got to do is look at the highways and see that it's very much still alive. The federal government just last week lifted the restriction that truckers are limited to only driving 11 hours a day if they're hauling critical medical goods, food supplies, and other materials. It means that a lot of them driving over 12 hours a day.
Yeah. Do you know there's a lot of husband-wife teams that drive trucks so they can swap? I guess they can swap off. One drives a while and
there's and you truckers, y'all know who you are. You know how you work things. Y'all have worked things for years and done them certain ways. And and then of course the federal government has cracked down over the years on different things. But you know, you guys are out there. You're listening to the radio. You're listening to the podcasts and doing all these things. And you know, we're here for you, man. We just want to have a good time with you and maybe make you laugh every now and then and keep you caught up to date on some stuff that's out there. But you're on the front lines, and we do appreciate you guys, and we love you. We love you. We're praying for you. Get out of the way, folks.
Need a trucker horn right now. Would be perfect. Yeah.
If you got your kids out there braving the plague, you know, tell them to give a little.
Remember that used to be a big thing when we were kids. You
I love that,
give
man.
You a little honk.
Remember
I guess
that?
they still do it, don't they?
Yeah, they still
now
do
you
it.
got to be careful sticking your arm out at them.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays we just stick a pistol out the window and fire it up in the air a couple times, man. Yeah.
Or a middle finger.
Yeah, exactly. You know, here's the thing, man. Here in America and all the countries across the planet, they're all going to get COVID. It's just that the Chinese got it right off the bat. But I just want to see if you guys were paying attention over there at the
I got that
mothership
one right off the bat.
Do what?
I got that one right off the bat.
Right off you got it right off the bat. Yeah. So you got a lot of stuff going on out there, man. You got a lot of stuff going on there. What do you think about I think Andrew Cuomo, who's coming out every day and giving his daily briefings there in New York. I think Cuomo, I have to agree with my buddy Glenn Beck on this one. We talked about it yesterday on the news and why it matters with Sarah Gonzalez. I think Andy Cuomo he's trying to be presidential. He's trying to come out there, look strong, look smart, intuitive. I think he's going to invade Milwaukee, take it away from Joe Biden.
Honestly, my opinion on that is he's probably way smarter and is probably a more electable person than anybody running right now.
Well, he's quite intelligent.
Yeah.
Eloquent in that regard. Give him that. Candace, what you got?
Well, you know how Rudy Giuliani was forever known as like the guy who held New York together during 9/11. I feel like Andrew Cuomo, for lack of a better word, is trying to use this to like solidify his legacy because his dad also had a legacy and is really valued in New York City. And so he's trying to pave his own way in that regard. Yeah.
Hey, you know, it's definitely it's a New York family. I mean, people recognize them as you know, icons of New York in that regard. I don't agree with them politically, but you know, Andrew Cuomo came out yesterday and he was praising the president and his response to a lot of different things. I think New York, and I won't get into this, but I think New York is kind of taking the cop-out road on certain things of not paying their fair share towards things that need to be, you know, sent back to the federal government. But whatever, you know, Cuomo says, well, we can't afford, you know, to pay certain things. Why not? I mean, New York's massive. It is the empire state, so they are the epitome of commerce. Anyway, that being said, you know, it's weird. So goes places like New York. So goes the rest of the country. So goes Texas. So goes the rest of the country. California, in a big way, is that. I mean, these are places, major places of commerce, major places of economy. We'll see what happens. But I'm just saying, I think there's a good chance Andrew Cuomo, he pops in and tries to take the whole thing from Bernie and Biden.
I think he could do it.
Yeah, I think he could, too. President Trump came out with an interesting tweet this morning. Do you have that, Candace, that we can pop up there? Let's see.
Okay, she's quick.
This was his reaction to Mitt Romney tested negative. Sometimes Trump says things. You have to understand the sarcasm and the humor. This is really great news. I'm so happy I can barely speak. He may have been a terrible presidential candidate and an even worse U.S. senator, but he's a rhino, and I like him a lot.
That's great. I mean,
I don't know that I would say it's great.
Trump is an ultimate troll.
I don't, yeah. This is one of those times where I'm like, okay, Donnie, reel it in.
I mean, what time was that tweet done?
It was this morning. Was it last night? Okay, I saw it this morning, so.
Some of his best ones come either really late at night or really early in the morning.
Yeah.
He probably dreamt about it and woke up and tweeted it.
And we're all happy that Mitt Romney tests negative. We want everybody to test negative. I mean, we got the news this morning that Prince Charles has tested positive. I blame Meghan Markle for that. I mean, she really is the downfall of the royal family, and probably part of the reason for this COVID thing. She probably took it over there.
That's what I was going to say, back and forth to Canada and stuff. So.
Yeah, Justin Trudeau. See, if I were Glenn Beck, I could easily put together a chalkboard chart on this and talk about Meghan Markle, her exposure, and then back and forth to Canada and all that stuff, and Justin Trudeau, how he tested positive, and now he's quarantined, and then they came back from – it's a whole deal. It's really an assassination attempt on the Windsors is what I think. That's what I think. It's the whole COVID thing – is a Chinese ploy, and I think Meghan Markle, who could be a Chinese agent, could be very subversive.
Now you're digging into some of my crazy conspiracy theories and stuff.
I mean, who knows what's going on? Are they telling us the truth? I like what Stu Burgeer says. I can't believe those words came out of my mouth. I like what Stu says. Stu says, they're kind of giving us the worst case scenarios because there's a broad spectrum of things that are happening, and you really don't know how it could affect people. It's just all bad, right? Like the fact that I keep rubbing my nose like this. People are always like, why do you rub your nose? Because my nose, I have a little thing here that makes it itch and tickle.
Oh, goodness.
It's a long nose. Look at that.
I'm really one of those in the belief of there's probably more people that already have it than don't.
See, and like knock on wood. I said to Jade this morning, I said, I think that by and large, most people have an immunity that's there. Either they've already had it. And she said, why do you think that? And I said, well, because it's just not widespread. Because again, that's what I say is if we test everybody, and if you knew you'd had it or have it, if you have it, quarantine. If you've never had it, stay at home. If you've had it, go to work. Right?
Yeah, and
you're not going to get it again.
They could just tattoo a little number on your arm that says you've already had it.
Yeah, and you have to scan that every time you leave the gulag.
Yeah.
And you come out of the barbed wire fence, bling, and it's like Gattaca. You have to scan your DNA every time to make sure that you're of pure genome.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of my theories. Now they're testing 16,000 people a day in New York. Mm-hmm. Don't you think they can grab some of that DNA out of every one of those nasal swabs and create a DNA database?
I don't think there's DNA on the planet they don't already have. You said that to me yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's something we can discuss. Because I know everybody's like, oh, my God, they're grabbing DNA. They got your DNA. If you've ever given blood, gotten a blood test, they got your DNA. It's a done deal. Steve, they're probably building an army of clones of party fouls.
Probably so.
There's a whole army of party foul clones.
Dominate every bar in the United States.
That's exactly right. They're building an area of commerce. I want to talk about this when we come back. Y'all stay tuned. Hey, going to make you aware of a couple of things in this segment, but I got a message or I got a comment on the thread about, let's build a list for truckers. One guy said, I'm a trucker. This has sucked. People are selfish. Businesses are about the same. Can't even walk in their buildings and use the restroom. Not allowed to use vending machines either. Like we're the incarnate ones of COVID-19. Get there early, no parking allowed. Get a little late. Talking about deliveries. Get there a little early, no parking allowed. Little late, too bad, reschedule, unless, of course, they're desperate for your product. There have been a few exceptions, but, that's that. Just treated like dirt mostly. I hope that's not what's going on to the majority. I tend to think it's probably not. There are always those who have had bad experiences, but we don't want you to have any of those experiences.
Yeah, and this is new to everybody. I mean, as far as how to deal and how to handle those deliveries to make sure they have someone there at the store to begin with to receive them.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure everybody's having to make adjustments, so it's not going to happen overnight.
And I think at the end of the day, ultimately, this is something that concerns me. That's what I've been thinking about this morning. Even in the middle of this, you got to treat each other with respect. It's one thing for us to come on here and have fun and poke fun and do those kind of things. But we walk out the door and I pass somebody in the parking lot, I've encountered people like that, and they won't even look at you. Like looking at you, like we're supposed to keep our heads down, and like you could tell if they have a mental hazmat suit on, and they don't want anybody engaging them. Like, oh my God, don't even make eye contact. The COVID-19 could jump from my eyeball to his eyeball, and that's come on, people. Don't lose your sense of humanity, because they're already building a whole arsenal of party foul zombies that are going to inhabit the earth. Like they just...
We're just taking over.
Y'all have seen the movie Idiocracy. If you haven't, then you need to watch it. Jade had never seen it. I showed it to her over the weekend. Idiocracy. Like that's what they're building. They're going to start with the DNA of Party Foul Steve. And they're just going to build a whole bunch of people who are out there, and they're just like, yeah, aliens.
I got some pretty good DNA out there already, so
yeah,
it's like,
you do. That's the thing. You have produced some amazing progeny,
and as far as I know, they're all mine.
Yeah, some amazing progeny. But I don't know, man. It's weird. One of the things that I've done, people could complain, they can fuss about it or whatever, but I've created, if you go to the Chad Prather page on Facebook. Now that's the one with the red background of my face and the cowboy hat, of course, the red background. You have 4 pages. You have my personal page. That's me. If you look at the profile picture, that's me in the straitjacket. Then you have Watch Chad Prather, which is where I post most of the videos. And, of course, you have Political Cowboy. If you go to just the Chad Prather page with that red profile picture, I've created a private group there. It's not for everybody, but it's called, and if you search on Facebook, Chad Prather Supporters. Chad Prather Supporters. What we're doing is we're starting a group there because I'm tired of the censorship. And I want to build a community of people that we can, we're going to, if you're a part of that group, what we're going to do is we're going to have, I'll give you discounts on merchandise. We'll give you live feed videos every week. We'll post some stuff there that we're not going to post everywhere else. And you say, well, why wouldn't you post it everywhere else? Because we're already posting stuff everywhere else and people aren't seeing it. You see what I'm saying? People aren't seeing it. So I'm giving you a specific place where you can go and we're going to give you stuff. And we're going to do that. We're not going to stop posting our normal stuff on social media. We're going to do that. But I want to build a community of people that we can sit there and talk about. The Fact Pack is on here right now. Sandra, Gerald, Tiffany.
Yeah, I have to give shout out to the Fact Pack because they follow me right on after your show's over. They go over and watch mine.
Brenda,
so I mean,
I could sit there and name them all day long. It runs through my head, and I could see your little screen name that's on there. But the Fact Pack, man, we can count on that same about 400 people watching live every episode we put out there on YouTube. So we appreciate the support. We're out there. Those are the kind of people that I know are going to be there, and I want to make sure that we are communicating with those folks. So I encourage you, go join our private group. It's on there. I've never done anything like that. I've never wanted to do anything like that, and quite honestly, I don't want to be doing it right now. But I feel like right now is a time where people got to stay. We got to stay networked. You know what I'm saying, Steve?
Yep.
We got to stay. We got to keep that human connection there, and folks that are. But anyway. You can get us on Pluto TV. If you're on Pluto TV, you can get us on YouTube. Come on. I mean, what other show is this comfortable, Candace? There's not another one. We have reached out to Joe Exotic. We plan on having Joe Exotic. If you haven't seen The Tiger King, we plan on having Joe Exotic on the show. We have reached out. We can't get to that one yet. We have reached out. We have some stuff we're going to share with you tomorrow night on the episode for you Tiger King fans. We have reached out to Carol Baskin. We have gotten a response. We will share that with you on tomorrow night's episode. Quite interesting stuff that's there. Those of you who are quarantined, who are stay-at-home, sheltering in place, if you're watching Netflix, I have had people who have come at me and said, how dare you promote Netflix? They worship the devil. They're owned by the Obamas. They are the Antichrist. Yeah, well, I got to watch some programming somewhere.
You're really not. I mean, you are obsessed with this Tiger King.
Yes.
I mean, you wore a robe today.
Yes.
Where are the tigers at?
Listen, if we do a Siegfried and Roy deal, you're the one getting drug off by the head.
Okay.
Too soon? Is it too soon, Candace?
No, you got to get little tigers before they bite you.
I think that's too soon.
Those little tigers are loud, man.
I think it's too soon, but I have a lot of sources for where we can get really nice sequined leopard print tops for all of us to wear as sort of a,
Can
a
we
uniform.
get tiger print shirts that say the Chad Prather Show?
They're already in the mail.
Are they? And then get girls with sequins?
Isn't there a certain age that women get, and all of a sudden they start wearing leopard and tiger print all the
Steve,
time?
We don't need
like are you?
lawsuit right now.
Let me ask y'all a serious question. Like, do you find that attractive? Like animal print clothing? Like, I don't.
Normally, I do not. There's every now and then I'm like, hey.
I just
not
don't
very
find
often.
tiger print or leopard print. Like, I get it, and I really don't care. But, like, people wear that like that's sexy, and I'm like, and some people, for them, that's a thing. Like, everything they got.
Turquoise. People that wear a lot of turquoise, like
which I
rings
kinda like
and
that.
stuff. I'm not a big fan of
I mean,
that.
like, people can overdo the turquoise, but I kind of like the turquoise. I like that look.
You can mix.
But, like, the animal print, what, Candace?
Maybe they're not wearing it for the attractiveness level. Maybe they're identifying as an animal, so we should respect that.
Maybe, but I think by and large they're trying to be like that's their thing. Like you can't. I see the post. You can't get enough tiger print. You can't get enough. Oh, it's a leopard print kind of day, girl. You've been wearing leopard print underwear for 15 years.
Everybody frowned on it when the Dalmatian woman was trying to wear a Dalmatian coat.
Well, yeah, but that's a real. They were making it out of a dog.
Oh, because it's a dog.
Don't make a
wild
coat out of a dog.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Jade has some furs, right? I don't, look, they got to die sometime. So Jade wasn't a fur fan, and I just kept buying them.
I don't think we have any furs. We have some leather jackets and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, like, and somebody, Joe Exotic said, I'm broke as shit. But he's wearing those leather tassel jackets, and if you watch the show, he's got like 20 of them hanging on the hooks there. And somebody said, he ain't broke if he's wearing them jackets. I'm broke as shit. I love every time I say that, I can hear Candace over there giggling.
Everybody has their different level of brokenness.
Yeah. Well, good Lord, man, they were spending $100,000 a month to feed those cats.
That's not cheap.
You ain't that broke. But, I mean, I do love how kind of redneck they were. He'd be walking around with those little kittens, and he'd be like, hey, this one's worth $5,000. This one's worth These are both $5,000. We're getting paid, boys. I'm like, you really are trash. Like, you really are trash. The fact that there's more tigers in captivity, and who knows? I don't know. You truckers might be shipping tigers, man. Y'all might be shipping tigers. God bless you, truckers. Quit shipping the tigers.
I knew someone that brought some type of parrot, like across from Mexico, in their pocket. It was a baby. They had to feed it with a.
The thing about those birds is they live like 110 years.
Yeah.
Like you buy one of them cockatoos, it's going to outlive you. Like I was looking at snakes the other day. I went by PetSmart to get some dog food. And I was looking at those boa constrictors. They're selling those things for like $600. I'd cut its head off with a shovel for free. I mean, and these things were active too. And I don't like snakes, right? But I'm like, good Lord, man. I was looking at it like their lifespan is over 20 years. Some of them like 20, 30 years.
Can you imagine inheriting that from your...
And they were like, it gets to like 72 inches long. And I'm like, I'm glad they put that in inches. Because if you put that and said 6 feet, Like, I'm buying a 6-foot snake. This thing could outlive me and be 6 feet long, which means I could sit there and feed it live mice for the rest of my life. And then it's going to get big enough to one day wrap around me and constrict and choke the life out of me. And now it's going to swallow me whole. I don't want that as a pet.
Might be cheaper than a funeral.
A slithering coffin, y'all.
Yep.
Oh, see, that's the stuff. That's why you listen to the Chad Prather Show. It's news you can use and then lose. That's a beautiful thing, Candice. Oh, man, the Tiger King. I don't know, man. That's that dude.
I finished watching it yesterday.
Did you? Yeah.
And, I got it all
Dale
in.
Baskin, if you come over this fence right here, I'm going to shoot you between the eyes.
Yeah, that's
I can't wait to share with you our Carol Baskin's response to the Chad Prather Show. I want you guys to get on that CB radio and say, who's got your ears on, listening to the Chad Prather Show? Come back. Brigger. That's what I want to hear. Hang tight. I want to tell you one more thing. Don't move. Oh, Candice, sit back down there at the helm. I want you to sit down. Look, give me a wide shot of that again, Mark.
Spreading your legs.
Look how good that looks. This is how I sit around the house eating pizza. I want to know if, like, the producers of My 600-Pound Life, when this quarantine's over, do they contact me, or how does that work? Do they?
I think you have to want to be contacted.
Okay. Well, Candace, what's the cheapest exotic animal I could buy right now? Like
an ostrich.
An ostrich?
Yeah, for $55, which is, parking change.
Those things will kill you.
Do you know how many people you could feed with one ostrich?
Yeah, but you know how many people can die from one? They're like, they have like a raptor talon. I know a guy in Alabama that got killed. They split him in half.
I wasn't gonna let him get that big. I'm talking just like the size of a turkey, and then
sliced him wide open.
This website that I'm on has like a bunch of exotic animals. So it went like white tiger, Bengal tiger, monkey, and then Tibetan mastiff, which is just a dog.
How do they get them to you? With the truckers?
Mail.
They mail them to you?
You put them in a box, punch some holes in it.
So can I get a chin or whatever you call those little things, those little monkeys?
Yeah.
Monkeys will grab their poop and they will throw it at you. And you don't need a monkey anyway because that's more toilet paper.
They'll
wipe it in the curtains.
What about them little bitty monkeys that are like the size of your thumb?
Tower of London used to be a zoo, and then they had to shut down because the monkeys started throwing bricks at people back in the day, and they would allow the monkeys to smoke cigars.
So can I get like a cheetah?
Yeah.
How much is a cheetah?
$2,500.
$2,500 for a cheetah?
Yeah.
I could turn it loose in the neighborhood and never catch it.
If you want, if that's what you wish, yeah.
I mean, I never know. I've lost cats before. What about like a bear or something?
No bears, but there is a panda for $1,500, or you could get a Bengal kitten, which is basically a Bengal tiger, obviously, for $1,000, which I think is relatively cheap.
And they just ship it to you?
Tumultuous
you gotta have
time.
a license to.
No, you don't. Not in Texas.
Really?
No.
You don't have to have exotic.
No.
You should have to have something.
The
right?
HOA say nothing about tigers.
There's more tigers owned in Texas than live in India.
Where was that? Somebody let all their tigers and bears and everything go?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, and they just went
White
rampant.
settlement.
In the
This is the
neighborhood.
stuff I'm telling you, man. The Chad Prather Show is where you get it, folks. Look, we love y'all. God bless you. Go to where podcasts are offered. And leave us a 5-star rating and a review. Get the single, He's Still Your President. I got it upside down. Myself and Ryan Weaver. And be paying attention because next week, guess what? Quarantine Life, me and CJ Engelstad, it comes out. It's an exciting song and you're going to love it. And we love y'all. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Tune in tomorrow night. Bye.